in this session we will talk about whether the leadership is really practically in the field is workable or not, or there are certain myths and what are the realities or facts related to the leadership is there. Because whenever we are learning the leadership, we are supposed to know about the what are the myths are there about the leadership. And because sometimes you see the people say that is the leadership does not work. A very normal criticism is about how these non MBAs they are becoming leaders, and when they are so much successful leaders, does MBA requires. So, that particular myth, that is the leadership is not does not require any input, or whether the leadership it requires the professional qualification, what is the fact, right, that we will be discussing in this particular session is there, right. And we will also talk about the different myths which are very popular and common into this particular topic of the leadership, and we will also talk about that is what are the different facts are there. We will also relate it with the case study and research papers, and also this session will be having the certain input from different books as a recommendation for you, and whatever these as usual at the end we will be having the references are there. Now, there are the lot of the already says are there, especially related to the rules, that is what are the rules of leadership. And we have seen that is the rules of leaderships are written on the basis of so many dimensions. There are the team building is related, the personality is related, the perception is related, learning is related, and therefore, in that case the researchers, the authors, they have given the rules on the basis of their research. On that particular research based studies, they are making the rules are there. Then there are the pointers also, those who are showing the directions. Direction, that is about the leaderships are there, that how you can become the successful leader. Then there are different leadership styles. Number of theories are there which talk about that whether it is autocratic style is there, democratic style is there, participative style is there, and whether it is laissez-faire style is there. And therefore, in that case you will find that is there are the different inputs are there theoretically by the different authors. It also talks about the biographies of the impressive leaders. The biographies are related about that how these leaders they have change the uncomfortable situation to the comfortable situations, how they have made that organization so much successful, how the cultures have been built in the organization, what are the different practices are there, with these practices they have made the organizations as a global level A class organization are the best employers in the world. This all through this the world history is there. Now, here I will also like to mention that is the especially the culture. Whenever we are talking about the leadership, so leadership is very much dependent on the individual, that is true, but if unless and until that individual is having the best combination with the organizational culture and environment, and in a given environment and situation, if the leader is able to coordinate and compose, then definitely the leadership will be the effective leadership will be there. For this purpose, we will talk about that is there are the particular facts, because you will say that is if leadership depends on the personality, then how we can generalize it. If the leadership depends on the environment, how we can generalize, and if the leadership depends on a particular situation, then how we can generalize. So, there are the particular leadership facts that we all ourselves fail to identify, because in a given situation I always advise my students that is in the classroom you learn to get the ideas and creativity of the ideas, but what ideas exactly will work, that you have to see in a given situation at your workplace. at your workplace, if you know that is if this is a situation, for example, the role of technology, for example, role of raw materials, for example, role of finance. So, leadership within context to these particular dimensions, that will require, that is the what is to be done and how to be make the effective leadership. Another very common example is of the change management, that is how to implement the change in a given organization, in a given situation, in a given culture by the given change agent. So, these parameters are very important. If we are making these parameters in a single direction, that is why it is no like you will see in the above, it is written the pointers and styles. If the pointers are accurate and styles are directive, then definitely in that case that leadership will be working as an effective leadership is there. Now, here we will talk about the different myth about the leadership is there. So, the leaders are only one type, but as I mentioned earlier in the previous slide, that is the leaders are having the different personalities. Leadership depends on the personality of a leader, and every leader is having his own personality, and we know that is the personality depends on the heredity, environment and situation. So, whenever we are talking about the heredity, environment, situation, now how heredity is related? Now, some leaders you will find that they are very happy, and it is because of their secretion of dopamine, and in that case when the environment is concerned, that is a 40% that plays a role into a style of the leader. So, leader cannot be of one type, and therefore, whether that is the official positions, many times it has been mentioned it is the if the person is on the as a head position, as the designation is general manager, designation is vice president, then that person is a leader. It is assumed, no, this is just a myth. That is, by being at a position, it does not mean that person becomes the leader. If you remember and recall the previous session under definition of leadership, that is it is the influence of the behavior. Right. So, a leader who influences the behavior of others and not it is just because of the position, then definitely in that case you will find that is it is becoming, that is the official or the elected for position or officers, they becoming their leaders. It is not true. The informal leaders, by virtue of their wisdom and expertise, right, that is fact, right. So, on one side the official, the position gives an opportunity to express the leadership, the manager. You may get the position of manager, but are you a leader? The position will give an opportunity. Similarly, the virtue of your wisdom, that will give you an opportunity to be leader. Virtue of your expertise in a given technical skills, human skills, conceptual skills, analytical skills, designing skills, that expertise, that will give you the leadership style. And exercise, a mix of the leadership variations are there. So, whenever we are talking about that the what is the myth, leaders are only of one type, no, leaders are whether they are official on the based of the position or on the based on their wisdom, on the based of their expertise, and maybe the person at the managerial position with the mix of their wisdom and expertise, that can be the leadership variation is there. So, Levin's 3 basic management styles are there, authoritative, right, and therefore, in that case the authoritative style of the leaders, they say to do, right, and therefore, they have become the authoritative. Now, authoritative can be on the basis of their wisdom and expertise also. So, therefore, we have to understand that is the authoritative persons, the way they exercise the leadership, that will decide that is what type of the authoritative leaderships they are having. Similarly, the participative style is there, and in the participative style they will be asking that is the what are the different style of the leadership which will be to be performed in a given situation, and they ask to their participants, other team members, that is this is the situation and what can be the solution, and therefore, that will be the participative style will be there. Then there is a delegative style. In the case of the delegative style, where the leader he gives the task to the others and the others performs that particular task. But we should not misunderstand, that is the how this delegative where is making the person non-perform. It is not laissez-faire style, right. So, in the laissez-faire style you will find it is a person is not performing. In delegative style the person is given the task to the others, but he is monitoring that particular task. So, with the delegation authority is given, but responsibility is not given, while in the laissez-faire style of the leadership it is the person is not concerned with the authority, not concerned with the responsibility. Then Goldman 6 emotional leadership styles are there. First and foremost is that is a visionary style is there. So, whenever we are talking about the leader, no, so leader is, who is a leader, who is visionary, who creates the vision for the organization. Now, what will be the vision of the organization? Here I would also like to support that visionary aspect with the help of the research. Articulation of vision is not that easy. The vision can be only framed by the experts, those who are able to understand yesterday, today and tomorrow. If the person understand what were the problems, so whenever we are making the organization tech savvy organization or a technological based organization, then what is our vision? Vision is after 20 years, where will be the technology, what will be the resources, and that will be the visionary is there. Then there is a affiliative style is there. An affiliative style is there where the persons are more concerned with the people or the team members, those who are working with them. Then the pace setting is there. So, slowly and slowly they make they develop the whole organization systems. Then the coaching style is there, where they are having the direct the instructions and advices and develop the people is there. Democratic style is there, where the leader asks to the team members, that is to express, and that is the participative or the team democratic style is there. And commanding style is there, that is the autocratic style or authoritative style is there. Whenever there is this type of the situations, then definitely in that case the leadership styles they are becoming the different positions are there, right. Now, Likert's 4 leadership styles are there. Exploitative, authoritative. Now, exploitative, authoritative, there the leader is not giving any benefits to the team members, while the good hearted authoritative are there, those who are having the authoritative positions, but their intentions are very fair. Consultative is there, and in the case of the consultative it is the participative style is there, where the people are getting the involved their team members. And participative style is there, where the decision making is done with the help of the people. The difference between the consultative and the participative is there, that is you are having the consultation with the others, but you are not necessarily following in your decisions. In the participative style is there, where you are joining with your team members to take the decision and to implement it. Second myth is leaders are born and not made. Leadership is actually a procedure for becoming a leader, as we have mentioned, that is it is a full process, right. So, earlier it was told that is the king's son will become the king, that is a trait theory was there, and on basis of that it was told that is the yes if the prince is born in any royal family, then definitely he will be the only leader or he will be the king, right. And but later on it has been seen they have not been become successful leaders, because by just taking birth into a particular king's family does not make a person a king. So, then what makes a king? It is that particular training which is to be provided to that the prince, so that he proves in the true sense that prince is not only because of the birth, but it is by the act also. Although specific men and women are born with the innate leadership characteristics. So, you see if you watch the children are playing, and then you find suddenly that one child he becomes the leader and rest of the his team members they follow him. So, but if they are playing themselves and following the one person, but there is a threat, because without proper environment and the exposure, then they will often fail to acquire their full potential. And that is why that direction is very much important, that coaching is very much important, because the person may have that personality traits to become a leader, especially taking initiatives, extrovert is there, directive is there, it might be there, but then what is required? There is required an environment. If there is an environment and exposure, then definitely that person who has born in a royal family or not born in a royal family, but because of that initiative of his traits which are making him the leader with the proper exposure and by providing the proper exposure and environment. So, like learning the way to ride a bicycle, it is also possible to learn how to become a leader. So, like we learn the swimming, bicycling and then driving, right. So, is like this way we can also learn that how to become a leader and sharpen our leadership expertise. So, let them be the leader, leadership begins with you. So, it is not like this, there are some people those who can become the leader, वो बन सकते हैं, हम नहीं बन सकते, they can be the leaders, I cannot be the leader, no, 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 that is a myth. Knowledge on leadership theories and abilities may be formally gained by the finding leadership seminar, training, courses and conventions. If you get the training for that, that is how to become the leader, then definitely in that case you will become the leader for that particular task or the situation. So, leadership starts with you, with ourselves. We cannot become a leader in a single day. Lifelong learning is essential in learning to be a good leader for every day, which provides the fresh experience. Now, you see the situation keep on changing. Earlier situation may be different, now situation is different, yesterday situation was different, today's situation is different, and then in that case every day what we provide the experiences that put our knowledge, skills and frame of mind to a test. So, whatever the knowledge we are having, whatever the skills we are having, so every day they are challenged. Our knowledge is challenged, skills is there, attitude is challenged, habits are challenged and therefore, there will be by these facing these challenges we make up our mindset, and that mindset to win the situation, that is becoming the important. Leadership is the sole act. So, leadership is it is not that is the it is only by the one person, no, no, it is shared by the others, those who are your team members. So, it is not the responsibility of one person, but instead a shared accountability among people. Now, here you see this beautiful diagram, and in this particular picture you will find that is the rise of the shared leadership is there, but so it is a team building, right. By supporting to each other, the person can reach to the goal. So, accountability among people of an emerging team is there. The leader belongs to a group, every single member has a task to meet. So, here it is you find that is a chain is there, and this chain will be connected by the each and every member, and that is becoming the team building and not by the single person. So far we have discussed about the some of the myths related to this particular leadership in soul acts, and the rest of these myths that we and whether the facts are there, or I have talked about the research papers and books, that we will discuss into the next part, right, in the next session. So, thank you all of you.